All right, we're back. We're live. Welcome back. Another session of Looking for Work. Super excited to be here and hopefully answer a ton of questions for folks. If you have a question, easiest way to get it to me is to just drop it in the comments field and it'll come directly to me. And then, well, not directly to me, but like through the interwebs. And it takes about, 60 seconds, couple minute delay. So once you post your comment, I will get it. And then I will put it up on the screen, trying to answer your question. We do this every week on Tuesday, starting at 12 noon. I like to be prompt. And I'm going to verify and confirm we're live on the most important, which is Spot, LinkedIn. We are live. So I'm super excited to hopefully get lots of questions and take at least the next 30 minutes, hour or so, and answer whatever questions I can be helpful with. I've hired lots of software engineers. I've helped lots of engineers make that transition and get jobs. Shout out to Mike Ingley. Man, I think he started in one of my programs 18 months ago. He's now a senior software engineer. That's the business. Mike worked super hard. So it's just a good testament to if you put the work effort in. He was one of the hardest working guys in the cohort. And, man, it pays off. Just saw an announcement this week. Senior software engineer from no experience whatsoever to senior software engineer, 18 months, a little over that. So it's not bad. That's not bad at all. So it's 100% doable. And we can kind of tell. I mean, we could predict when students like Mike were in class, it shows the effort that they're putting in every day. Very easy to distinguish who's going to be successful from who might struggle for a bit. And we aim to remove as many barriers as we can in the kinds of programs that I run and involved with. But the biggest barrier for most folks is just getting out of their own way, getting it done, putting the effort in, treating the job search process like a job, and almost a guarantee of success. Can never guarantee, but almost a guarantee. You just got to put the right amount of work into places where you're going to get high yield and get the best return on that effort. So that's what I love to help people with, because it's not as intuitive as one might think. And so I'll dig in, answer people's questions. So if you have a question, please post your comments. I'd love to take some time and see if I could be helpful to you. So let me just check and see where we are with. Just want to make sure we're live everywhere in all places. And I feel like should be good. So I was out last week, but I had to fill in. So hopefully I saw Wes answered a few questions. That was helpful for folks. I want to make this consistent. So if people are on the job search, I want to be here to help out. And again, it really helps if you have specific questions, throw them in the comments. We're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, we're on YouTube. If you place a comment while you're watching this live stream, I will see it and I'll be able to directly answer and address those questions. I'm not sure if we'll go to Clubhouse, but trying to figure out a way we can like simulcast on Clubhouse and maybe even then be able to take some questions for people live. I don't know if that's a possible thing. We'll try and figure it out. We're technical folks over here, so we should be able to get that going. But yeah, last week I was at a big conference, ASU GSV, which summit happens every year here in San Diego, and it was a great opportunity to get sort of an inside lens on what's happening in both the ed tech space, what educators think about skills and getting people to where they need to be, and big vendors were there like Coursera, Western Governors University. Big shout out to WGU. They had an awesome presence there. They won a Lifetime Achievement Award. And I think they are doing a phenomenal job of not only democratizing the ability for people to get degrees, but if you're on the path that I was on, like the 10-year path, and you're looking for a way for you to be able to get that CS degree and also have a realistic way to sort of like survive and like complete the journey in a reasonable way as as an adult learner, WGU, check them out. Fantastic options for a less than traditional path to get into degree, which could better position you to get into a tech role. So, Kamal was phenomenal. Tiffany Haddish was phenomenal. We had I had great conversations with lots and lots of people. Shout out to Cameron. Great work that you're doing with apprenticeship.io. Shout out to Ryan Craig. I know was there, and I didn't get a chance to sync up, but I hear did a decent job, I guess. But saw lots of people sort of enjoying his feedback about where the state of the industry is and going. So, and I agree largely with a lot of the work that Achieve is doing and the prognosticating, I guess, the really smart folks like Ryan and Craig are doing for the space, for education, ed tech in general. So, again, super excited for Mike. So shout out to Mike Engley. So I wanted to just touch on one more thing before I jump in and just start answering people's questions. And that was, for folks that are transitioning. So I saw a message that came through, I think towards the tail end of last week. And I wanted to make sure that I took an opportunity to sort of like address the issue and see if we could be helpful to people that are transitioning from some career path outside of software engineering. And they're looking for like, what's the best way in? What's the entry point? What do I need to do to just get a foot in the door and get started? And the best resource I can give, tried and true, is Free Code Camp. Like, hands down, Free Code Camp is sort of the best starter place because, as is implied in the name, the free part means you can get in there and you can, without any cost whatsoever, start seeing if you enjoy the process, start consuming the resources. And it's the closest to sort of the way a lot of folks' old school method of learning to become a software engineer was, learning on your own, self-teaching. And Free Code Camp is a great resource if you want to just get in, get some exposure, do some discovery, decide if this is something that you want to invest more of your time and effort and energy in. And then you'll also have a good sort of like broad knowledge of the specific subject matter that you test out, you try out. They got a great Python fundamentals course. They got a great web development course. Start there because it's not going to cost you anything. It's free, right? I mean, it's going to take you some time and require some work, a little bit of elbow grease, because the curriculum really does sort of like walk you through baby step 1 through until you get to the point where you're not crawling, you're walking, and eventually walking leads to running, and you're all good. So I'm going to stop there, see if we have some questions. I can't believe I'm trying to figure out why the chat's not working. But the counter's not working, so my guess is maybe the chats aren't going to come through either today for some reason, because I can't see. Yeah, the data's just not coming through right. But we'll wing it. We'll see if we can make this happen. So drop me a comment if you're out there and you're listening. Drop me a message. Let's see if we can make this thing work. If not, I might have to just like try and look at it on my phone if that's possible. I can't see. Yeah, I see there's 6 people on displaying on LinkedIn. So if you give me like a little thumbs up or a like or something, maybe we can make it. Maybe we can make it work. I don't know, but let me see if I can see the comments on here. I don't think I can. But I can tell there are 6 human beings. Hello to all 6. I just can't figure out how to get messages that aren't coming through. So there you go. Thanks, Tim. Appreciate the licenses as well. So I see some activity, but I still don't see the counter working on my ass. So shout out to StreamYard, who usually makes this process really pretty easy to do. And I know sometimes folks ask me, what do I use for podcasting or what do I use for LinkedIn Live? Love StreamYard, but for whatever reason, I'm not getting like a little indicator of how many people are watching and or leaving questions. It just shows a bunch of zeros, which I know is not true because on the device it's telling me 6. So someone's lying here. Tony Silva. Tony, good to see you as well. So yeah, thanks for the thumbs up. Appreciate that. Tony is another superstar. Went through work super duper hard, man. Tony had doubts. Tony wasn't sure, but worked super hard and worked his way into a software engineering role. He's been working from home even prior to COVID. He was working from home. Just a great scenario. Awesome company. And I can't say enough about the folks that they ask questions during the job search process. They follow through and do the reach outs, and the opportunities, they come fast. I think Tony was looking for like a few weeks. He was off to the races. Mike Ingley, same thing, just a few weeks. And in fact, I think Mike had a job before he even graduated. So yeah, if you follow the process, and for those of you, this is the first time you're catching this, if you jump on the YouTube channel, so we have a YouTube, man, all of these videos are there. You can go back, you can watch them at your leisure, and these little nuggets, they work. Lots and lots of people get jobs. So I can't emphasize enough that it's not intuitive, and the best thing for you to do is just ask questions. If you're not sure, should I be including a cover letter? Should I not include a cover letter? What should I put on my resume? Does this resume look decent? Happy to do resume reviews. Somebody wants to post their resume, and I can tear it apart, but do so in a kind way and give you feedback that I think would be helpful. I'm more than happy to do that. So if anybody has one, they want to shoot me a link, I'll throw it up, tear into it. And I can't do what I normally do with like red marker and circle and draw all over it, but I can definitely walk you through what would be needed. The other pieces I think that I've talked about in the past, talked about them last week or the week before last, are making sure you get those 4 pieces of collateral, right? I think we might have changed it to 5, that you've got your resume, your portfolio site, cover letter, you've got your GitHub, and you've got your email signature, LinkedIn, super valuable. I mean, if you put all of those things in place, and like Tony said, trust the process, it's going to work. Because my process isn't an easy process. The things that I talk about, they're not easy. In fact, they make people feel super like unnerving and uneasy when I say, look, this is what you need to do. You need to be reaching out to people. You need to be creating connections. You need to be sort of making sure that you're tracking everything, putting things on a spreadsheet, making sure you know when you're going to follow up with folks, and then following through. Those are not easy. So there's no magic here. There's no quick solutions. There's no silver bullet, but instead there are definitely things that you can do that are more efficient and better uses of your time, and things that are complete waste of your time, right? Like just clicking the one-click apply on Indeed, waste of time. Not helpful. We got a question from Shane. What is the best way to break into the first role when you just graduated with your bachelor's degree in computer science, and as an adult student you didn't have time to do an internship? I feel like I'm struggling to find the right opportunities to apply to. Yeah, so the good news is you do, since you've indicated you've finished the bachelor's degree, you do have one thing, one sort of arrow in your quiver that will be a really good asset. And so I'm also not a huge fan of internships, so I won't go down that path, because I think whether you do or do not have internship experience, I think you're going to be fine. I think with a bachelor's degree, you've shown that you can be consistent and put out consistent amount of effort over time, diligent, hold yourselves accountable. You probably got passing grades, at least if you got a degree, right? But more importantly, it shows that you've mastered some of the principles of understanding fundamental computer science principles that are used at organizations that need to have products that can scale, right? And so that advantage that you have over the other folks in the job market shouldn't be like diminished. There's lots of folks that don't have that formal academic experience. And so I wouldn't say that it's more important than hands-on experience, but I do think it's at least enough that should warrant getting a foot in the door and having conversations with folks. So here's what I would suggest that you do to sort of like bolster what you have been doing so far for the last 4 years and best position yourself for an opportunity. And that is passion projects. So even though you haven't had the quote unquote time or the ability to work at an organization and contribute and get to know them, you can still work on passion projects, which will demonstrate the same sort of like hands-on the keyboard skills. They will also show that you're familiar with the modern tools that are used inside of shops to deliver software and get things built. So you're going to get on GitHub, you're going to post your projects on GitHub, create READMEs, try and get things deployed, make sure that you're following best practices in terms of testing your code. Treat the next several weeks, several months like your own personal internship with a focus on everything that you're delivering. Try and make it quality. Now, it won't have the same relationship built into it that you might have with either an apprenticeship or an internship. But the more important piece is not that, hey, I spent X amount of time in their code base and networking with people. It's really, you got a firsthand look at the difference between what you learn in your book and what you learn in the classroom and what's actually used out in industry. And you can accomplish that on your own. You can accomplish that by working on passion projects. It can be your own project. I would also encourage you to do sub-group projects where you're either committing to and contributing to open source, or you're working on some code with other individuals. So you have that opportunity to collaborate and exercise some of the skills of working with Git workflow, right? Where you have to not only commit your code to Git, but you have to do it following a process that's used by shops to make sure that we're not all sort of clobbering each other's work, but we can work and we can integrate our code collaboratively, right, in real time. So I think if you practice that and you take, even like I said, the next couple months, and you really build 3, 4 very small projects. They shouldn't be big projects. Smaller, so quality, much more important than a volume of projects. And as I always suggest to folks, staying with small projects and not picking something that's like super big and it's going to take you months on end. And the reason for that is because you'll lose steam, right? And anything that you have to do for a really long time, it's just really hard for you to close it out and get it done. But if you can pick projects that you can finish in one weekend, right? 1 week or 2 weekends max from cradle to grave, you should be able to build something really small, really shallow set of features. Doesn't need to have a deep set of features. You're not building this huge application. You want to build small applications that demonstrate you've got some technical skills and you've got proficiency at delivering quality code. If you can demonstrate that in your passion projects, you'll be in great shape. That with your degree, you're going to be fine. You're better than fine. You already have that piece of paper. So a lot of the hard work's already been done. Now you got to do the polishing, right? So hopefully that helped, Shane. Have no fear. That college degree, it is definitely valuable. And I feel like a lot of folks, because they're in a different maybe ecosystem, because they're in the 4-year university ecosystem, that's like echo chamber of you're gonna go to your classes, you're gonna take these classes, you're gonna get an internship in your junior year and your senior year, and that's how things are gonna, or your career is gonna go. It's like, nah, that's not how it works in the real world. That may be what lots of people, their experience is when they're in that pathway and pipeline, but there's absolutely no reason why you can't be crushing it right now if you just start engaging in like the local community. So I don't know if you're here in San Diego or if you're elsewhere, but like getting involved in the meetups, even if they're virtual, just getting involved in the meetups, giving a lightning talk or presentations about projects that you're working on. Those are all ways that you can engage in a whole completely different ecosystem that will then start connecting you with people that might be, they know somebody that's hiring, right? The way that most jobs aren't posted. So the way most people are hired into jobs is they know somebody or they're inside, and the hiring manager says, hey, we got the green light to hire a couple people. This is what we're looking for. Tap your networks. And if you If you know somebody that's inside one of those organizations, they may tell you like, hey, you should apply for this role. The only way you get to hear about those opportunities if you're networking. So networking, super valuable. Those are probably the two biggest things that you should be doing on a regular basis. Working on your passion projects, networking. But networking is such a vague term that I usually add a lot more context to it by giving people very specific things that you should be doing. Like you should be reaching out and introducing yourself and trying to make connections with new people, right? That's a fundamental part of networking. You should be doing it to, in whatever way you can, help the other person. Not because you're expecting something in like reciprocal, like they're going to do something for you, but just because it's the right thing to do to like help somebody else. It doesn't always have to be like a coding related thing, right? So you might notice that like, oh, this person likes to cycle. I like to cycle. You might reach out to them and say, hey, I see that you do a little bit of cycling. Did you know that there's this, Bike for MS coming up in San Francisco? It's going to be an awesome ride. 2-day event, 100 miles on the first day, 60 miles on the second day. Right? Like it doesn't have to be like, I got to find some way of like talking about the company in order to connect with this person. No, you can sometimes see, like you see a picture and they're on a beach and you're like, hey, I know where that is. Right. And that's what you may be able to make that real human connection with the other person. And then that person can become an internal champion when and if it becomes an opportunity at that organization, or they might know somebody, etc. So really, again, just get comfortable being uncomfortable and doing what I know a lot of developers have a hard time, which was just reaching out to strangers and networking. I personally, a lot of social anxiety, right? So it's really hard for me to walk into a room, you're doing a little dance where people are in circles and you're trying to wait for the circle to open up so you can kind of slide it and like get it, 100% get it. So make a beeline for the bar first, get yourself a beer, and then kick back and wait for one of those circles to open up, right? You have to take the proactive step, though, of saying you're going to walk into the room. I can tell you every time I make the decision to put myself in that position, whether it's go to a meetup or go to a virtual event, every time kind of get warmed up at some point. And by the end of that, I'm so fortunate. And I feel like, oh man, if I hadn't taken the effort to put myself in this position and be uncomfortable for just a little while, for just the first few minutes, or, on this webinar or in this virtual room, I would have never made the 2 or 3 connections that you end up making. And one of those connections could end up being super helpful. And again, not just to me, to somebody else. They might find out from me that like, oh, hey, I'm volunteering at this event and now 2 or 3 people want to volunteer at that event. Right? It's just, you never know. That's what networking is about. That's the magic of networking. All right. Any other questions? I feel like we're light on questions today, but that's all right. We got lunch. Lunch is on its way. So I'm not quite sure what we're doing for lunch. I think it's leftovers, but it's good the first time. It'll be good the second time. Sometimes it's better the second time, right? All right. I'm going to check and see if there's anything that came through on my email. And I'm not seeing anything. I just want to make sure that I'm not missing anybody. No messages in my email. And so if you're seeing this after this is live, if you're seeing this on like the replay, that's okay. We do this live every week. We do it on Tuesdays at 12 o'clock noon Pacific, because I know there's people all over the place. And then it gets saved in YouTube. So you can go back and you can watch the previous sessions. And so if you're watching this and it's not live, drop me either a comment or you can email me, Mike at CC Careers. More than happy to record that question because this happens all the time. And then I'll cover it in the next session. So just make sure that you subscribe or you like so you can remember the next time, next Tuesday, 12 o'clock. I'm also super excited to announce we are now in a partnership with San Diego Workforce Partners and delivering our pre-apprenticeship program. So finally able to announce we've been working on this for a super long time, and I'm super excited to be able to share that we will now have this renewable learning fund it'll be evergreen. So we'll be able to constantly bring new people into the program, and it'll be supported by the students through an income share agreement with the San Diego Workforce Partners. So what that basically means is folks come in, they have an obligation when they go through the pre-apprenticeship program, and then when they finish our pre-apprenticeship program and the apprenticeship program and they get a job, then they can repay that obligation as just a percentage of their wages. And unlike other income share agreements, we have negotiated very, very favorable consumer-friendly terms. So that's going to make it super possible for anybody to not have to worry about the cost that might be associated with getting that initial skill in training involved to be ready for the apprenticeship. Because I often talk to people that I would love to bring them into our program, but they're just a little too early on in their technical career. They don't have quite enough skill to be at the point where we could be paying them to go through the rest of the process. But this is going to be an amazing opportunity for people that aren't there, but we can get them there. So it's a 12-week program. And again, it's in partnership with the Workforce Partners. So big shout out to Buzz Woolley and the Girard Foundation for making that possible. And again, this gives brand new pathways for people that may have thought that a career in tech was just not possible. So if you know anybody that's thinking about transitioning and they might have been hesitant because they're like, I can't quit my job, I need to have some method to be able to make this transition, the pre-apprenticeship can be great. It's not a paid opportunity, but it's a very short opportunity that can get someone ready for our apprenticeship program. And the apprenticeship program is a paid opportunity. So we can pay folks at that point. Once they've finished pre-apprenticeship, they get into the apprenticeship, you get paid, and then we can get them the rest of the way there. And we've got some phenomenal partners. We do a lot of work in the ServiceNow ecosystem. So that supports a lot of big Fortune 500 enterprise customers and clients. So these are some fantastic opportunities. And if you haven't heard about ServiceNow, I'm telling you, that platform is taken off like a rocket ship. So there's plenty of job opportunities in the ServiceNow ecosystem, as well as we're in the Microsoft Dynamics, ASP.NET Core, 365. We're in that ecosystem as well. So again, lots and lots of enterprise customers that, because we've got this program in place, we can create these pathways where folks can naturally transition once they're done with their apprenticeship into a permanent role, yeah, at a big enterprise software company. So super excited. We're going to be working with Intuit. So we got a partnership with Intuit now. We already have a partnership with Becton Dickinson, Genus, New Rocket. So loads of great opportunities for folks. And got my eye on Boston. So for those folks out there in Boston, try to make it out there. Try to make it happen. Working on it. All right. Unless there's anybody else, I see a couple of people. Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it, Tim. I am going to give the final countdown. If we don't get another question in the next 60 seconds, I'm going to jump off, but I will be back next week. Tuesdays, 12 o'clock noon. Every week. It's weird. Oh, it's Twitch. I see a person on Twitch. For whatever reason, the LinkedIn is not working, but I love the fact that one or two people are jumping on Twitch, and I didn't even know if Twitch was going to be a thing, but apparently it is. So hopefully this is helping. And hopefully for the people that are the Twitch fans, spread the word, because my guess is a lot of people that are gaming and streaming and stuff like that, they may be interested in this kind of a career. This might be a good way to be helpful to someone in this network. All right. That's it. I'm going to end it here. We'll see you next week.